All right, so we have got our yoga for days when you don't really feel like doing yoga. So this one is because we all have it, and I probably have it even more than all the rest of you, that you have those days where you feel that you should do some yoga, you feel that you should get on your mat, that you probably feel better for it, but you can't be bothered, or it doesn't fit in, or you don't feel like you've got the time, or whatever it is, you just put it off and you don't do it. So this practice is for those days. And what I have done is split it up into sections. So we start with breath works and pranayama. And on those days where you just do that, that might be where you switch off. You do that those first 5-10 minutes, and then that's your yoga for the day. And then there's the option to carry on and do some easy movement and then some little bit of flow, and you just take the bits that you want. So the intention is that once you start, you will finish your practice, but you can always stop at any point. You just make it what you need for that day. So at the very least, you've sat and you've connected with yourself for 5-10 minutes, and then you can move on with your day. All right, so if you are using the playlist, you can pop that on now. I'm going to start with breath work, but we will just take a few moments just to arrive and to ground first of all. So take a nice, easy, seated position. You can always sit in a chair or up on a cushion if you'd prefer to. Settle hands on the knees. Take a few deep breaths. Settle into that position. Make any movements. Close the eyes. And this is all part of your yoga practice, this arriving and settling and detaching from whatever is going on around you. Just taking time to become still. And to give yourself a chance just to notice how you're feeling, both physically and mentally. Notice your heart rate. Notice your breath. Notice where in the body you just need to soften. And as you observe the breath, just as it wants to be aware of the speed and the depth of each breath. Notice where in the body that you are breathing. See if you can deepen that breath. Find more of a sense of expansion on the inhale, whether that's into the chest, into the belly, through the rib cage. As well as expanding, become more aware of how empty you are on the exhale. See if you can empty out every little bit of breath, making room for a new inhale. Notice how, as we slow the breath, we start to naturally slow the mind as well. We give it a focus that's internal. And if you're happy staying with your breath like this, you can do nothing more than just focus on each inhale and exhale, trace the breath through the body. If you want to move into a further pranayama or breath practice, we're taking Nadi Shodhana, which is our alternate nostril breathing. So for that, we use the right hand. We bring first and second fingers up to the space between the eyebrows, so that the thumb is there to block the right nostril and the ring finger can block the left nostril. So keep a sense of softness through the face, through the shoulders. And you're closing the right nostril with the thumb, taking a full breath in. At the top of the breath, you swap over, blocking the left nostril with the ring finger and then breathing out. And then take the next inhalation through the same side, breathing through the right. Swap it over, blocking with the thumb, breathe out through the left. So we breathe in the same side. We swap and we breathe out. Stay with this breath pattern at your own speed. The breath shouldn't feel forced or difficult. And if you're feeling congested or that blocking nostril isn't working for you, you can still take this breath practice, but just keeping it in your mind to breathe through each side. So not physically blocking the nose, but imagining the breath traveling through each side of the nose in turn. Take a couple more rounds of breath, swapping sides or focusing on each side. And then after your next exhalation, you can release the hand, bring the hands down onto the knees. Just connect back with your breath, breathing through both sides equally. And just notice how the mind and the body feel maybe different to when you started. Pranayama is a limb of yoga. It's one of the 8 limbs. So even that on its own is practicing yoga. And that might be enough for you today. If you want a little bit more, we move into just gentle movements. A bit of a stretch for all body parts. So if you're taking that, just drop the chin down to the chest. Keep length in your spine. Let the shoulders drop back. And let the full weight of the head fall forward, finding length in the back of the neck. You can keep the head dropping forward, just allow gravity to assist, or you can rock the head very gently side to side, nice steady half circles, taking ear to shoulder in turn. Just a very simple movement, feeling out tension that might be in the neck or the shoulders. And take a couple more side to side. Or you may just have chin to chest. Breathe there if you have. And the next time the chin comes down to center, leave it there. Lift the head up nice and slowly. Take a couple of loops of the shoulders up and back. Your choice for this next stretch, either just crossing your right arm over the body and looping it in. So you're stretching into the outer shoulder. Or you can take eagle arms, where you take right arm underneath the left and squeeze the elbows together and up. So you're working into the shoulders. This one's a little bit more gentle, just working on the right shoulder first. This one works into the shoulder blades and both shoulders at the same time. Couple of breaths wherever you are. And then you can release the arms, shake them out, take the other side. So left arm across, draw it in, drop the left shoulder down, or left arm underneath, take your eagle arms. Feel the breath expanding the body, particularly into the shoulders. You hold here for a couple of breaths. And then release the arms. And as you release them, take them behind the back, form a fist, or just interlace the fingers and draw the hands down and away from the back of the body, just to open the chest. Keep sitting nice and tall. Draw the shoulder heads back. Breathe into the front of the body. That's it. Release the hands. If you've got a cross leg position, just swap the cross of the legs just to give the other side a chance for these last poses. We're taking a rotation, so sit nice and tall, breathe in, lengthen. You're turning to your right. Left hand across the body, catches the knee. Sit nice and tall, draw that right shoulder back. You take a few breaths here. You might twist a little bit deeper, maybe turn the gaze to look back over the right shoulder. And unravel nice and slowly, return to center, take that breath in and twist to the left. Every breath lifts us, lengthens us as we breathe in. Maybe finds more space to twist as we breathe out. Gaze can turn over the left shoulder or towards it. Lovely, back to center. Bring the soles of the feet together. It's a slight reposition of the feet. They can be nice and close, or you can walk them out a little bit. Hold onto the feet or the ankles. Take that breath in, lift the heart, and then draw the body forward. Fold wherever you land. It might be just a little lean forward this morning. You may collapse over the feet. Notice how it feels into the hips, into the inner legs, but also as you drop the head down, notice that opening through the back of the body. Breathe deeply into the belly. All right, and then pick yourself back up nice and slowly. From there, spin yourself around, find your tabletop all fours position. Spread the fingers nice and wide, knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. And move into your cat and cows. Nice big breath in as you soften the belly down, lift the gaze. And then breathe out, press the earth away, round the spine, chin to chest. And just moving between those 2 points nice and steadily with your breath. You can close the eyes, tune into how this feels internally. Notice any sticking points with the breath or with the movement. Lovely. Take one more with your breath each way. And then we're going to lift into a downward dog. So inch the hands slightly further forward, tuck the toes, send the hips towards the heels, and then press into the feet to lift the hips and pedal the legs out. So we don't want this to be too strong. It's more a sense of just stretching out the body, lengthening through the hamstrings. So move into it. If you want to take a little twist or a little wiggle through the hips, you can do. Anything that feels nice. And then drop the knees back down to the mat. Just a couple of final poses in this section, just to work through your whole body. So step your right foot forward. It's your choice here for a lunge. You can bring the foot between the hands and sink down sort of quite centralized, or you can heel toe that right foot a little bit wider and take a lizard lunge where we sink more within this right thigh. So if you've got the foot to center, fingertips might be on the floor, or you might just pick yourself up. Depends where feels tightest, where needs a little bit of a stretch. If you're in lizard, you can drop a little bit lower. Just allow this pose to be an opening through the hips. So, a couple more breaths. If you're higher up in a lunge, bring the hands down. If you're in your lizard pose, lift yourself back up onto hands. Ease out of that lunge and return through a tabletop position just to take the other side. So left foot's coming forward. Again, you can keep the foot central between the hands. You can heel toe it off a little bit wider and find your lizard lunge. I would take the same as you did on the other side though. So find the same on this side, but maybe notice how it feels a little bit different. You can take a little bit of a sway and some movement, or just settle in, catch your breath. That's it. A couple more breaths. And then hands can drop back to the floor, or lift yourself up out of your lizard lunge. Step that left foot back. Just give the hips a little sway out, little circles with the hips, or half circles. All right, and then from your tabletop position, bring the weight forward over the hands. So we're sort of lengthening a little bit into a modified high plank. Take an inhale. And nice and slowly as you exhale, lower yourself down to the mat. All right, hands there, stay underneath the shoulders. Draw the elbows in behind you, release the toes. Maybe slightly widen the feet to take pressure off the low back. And then on your inhale, loop the shoulders back, lift the heart forward, take a baby cobra, nothing too high. That's it. And then lower it back down. Take a couple more with the breath. So inhale, you lift. Exhale, you roll back down. Take two more in your own time. And then from there, press into your hands, push back through all fours, widen the knees as you go, big toes touch, and sink the hips back into child's pose. Forehead drops towards the mat. Hips are heavy towards the heels. And here you can just connect with your breath. Notice how you're feeling. Notice what the body needs. Now that might be the perfect mix of a bit of breath work and a gentle stretch out. Or you may now find that that little bit of movement is just creating that energy in the body, energy in the mind. And you fancy a few standing poses, a little bit of gentle flow, nothing too strong today. So you're welcome to stay in your child's pose, a few breaths there, and you can finish your practice. So if you want to take that gentle flow, start lifting back up with me, coming through all fours, tucking the toes, moving back through a downward dog. It's our transition forward. So look towards your hands. Start to take lots of little steps into the top of your mat. As you land there, keep the knees soft, flop the body forward. And then really bend into the knees and sweep the arms wide as you stand all the way up, root to rise. Gaze to the thumbs as you arrive. And then draw hands down to heart center. Take a couple of breaths here, just being aware of the feet, rooting down through all four corners. Little lift of the arches, lift that energy up through the legs, lift the knees, engage the thighs. Draw low belly in, send the tailbone down and lift the heart. Right, from here, taking tree pose, you're standing on your left leg. So pick up and drop the toes, find that foundation with the earth, and then bring your right foot to match, to hit the calf, or you can go for ankle, or you can go for inner thigh. Just avoid pressing into the knee. Draw that right knee open. And find that mix of rooting down through the left leg and rising up through the crown of the head. Hands to that heart center, connect with your breath. Notice how the breath and the balance holds us in our practice. All right, from there, you're going to float your right foot back. So start bending into your left leg. Send that right foot back as far as you can on the mat. Nice long lunge and sweep the arms up. You're finding your crescent lunge. So drop into the left knee. Draw this right thigh back. Soften shoulders down. Take an inhale. Hands come down as you exhale. You're stepping back into high plank. So lengthen out here, press the earth away, draw belly up towards the spine. You can always drop the knees down. Shift your weight forward on an inhale, and then knees or toes, lower yourself all the way down to the mat. So you might still keep this nice and soft and gentle. Loop the shoulders, find your cobra pose on your inhale. And then roll it back down. Take one more cobra with the breath. Nice big inhale to lift. Exhale as you ripple back. And then press into your hands, return through all fours, tuck the toes, downward dog. Lovely, lift onto your toes, look forward, take a breath in. As you breathe out, little steps forward, top of the mat. Lovely, and as we get there, halfway lift fingertips up the shins as you breathe in. Bow it back down as you breathe out. Soft knees, press the earth away, root to rise. Hands down to heart center. For the second side, so lift and lower your right toes. Find that strong supportive leg, and then bring left foot up into tree. Again, pressing down through the right foot, rising through the crown of the head, drawing the left knee open. And then from there, you're floating the left foot back. Long on the mat, connect through the ball of the foot. When you're there, nice strong legs, sweep the arms up, lift the gaze, slide shoulders down the back body. That's it. Keep bending into that front knee. Take the inhale. Hands meet the earth as you exhale. Step back into your high plank. Always the option to soften the knees down. It doesn't have to be a strong practice. Press into the hands, shift weight forward, take the inhale. Lower it down, knees or toes. And you've got 2 cobras here. Loop the shoulders. Inhale. Lower it down. One more. Lovely. Press back through all fours. Tuck the toes. Downward dog. Lift up onto your toes. Look forward. Bend the knees. Walk it to the top of your mats. Take a halfway lift. And fold. Root to rise on your inhale. Hands to heart center. We're going to take just 2 rounds, very simple, steady sun salutations, breath to movements. So big inhale as you lift the arms, gaze to the thumbs. As you exhale, hinge the hips back, draw the belly in, fold yourself down. Halfway lift, fingertips to shins. And then as you exhale, step it back into high plank. Lovely. Weight comes forward on the inhale. Your way to lower as you exhale. And just 1 cobra. Breathe it in. Press into the hands through all fours. Find your downward dog. Take your right leg up as you inhale. Step it through between the hands as you exhale. Little lift of the heart, sink of the hips, breathe in. Step to the top of the mat, forward fold as you breathe out. Lovely. Inhale, root to rise, gaze to thumbs. Take it straight back down, hinge at the hips and fold. Halfway lift. Step it back, high plank. As you breathe in, bring the weight forward, maybe drop the knees. As you breathe out, lower all the way down. Release the toes, lift into cobra, 1 breath in. Lower back down. Press through all fours, downward dog. Lovely, nice and easy. Left leg is lifting on your inhale. Step it through between the hands. Lift the heart, sink the hips, breathe in. Forward fold. Hang out here in your forward fold. Let the head drop. You can always have a bend through the knees. Inhale, root to rise. Lift all the way back up. Bring hands to heart center. Pause here to notice your energy. Notice whether you have created space, either physically in the body, opened up the body, or in the mind. Maybe cleared some of the busyness, some of the chatter that goes on. And if this feels like the perfect point to step away from your mat to move on with your day, you can take it. Or we have one final section, which is just some nice deep stretches to really work into the body. So if you're heading there with me, take that big inhale to lift the gaze, lift the arms, hinge and fold yourself forward. Take a halfway lift, flat back. Step back straight to your downward dog. All right, so taking a nice pigeon pose for the hips first of all. Your right knee is coming forward towards the right wrist. Drop down onto that leg, inch your left knee back. That's it. So you're dropping down onto this right hip. I realise whenever I do this, my mat is really dark, as are my trousers, and you can't see what I'm doing, for anybody new. So you're ending up like this. All right, so it's like a half split. If that's always too much for you, you can come into that shin to the front, shin to the side position and just lean forward. But pigeon pose is a really nice stretch for the hips. So just let yourself walk forward. You can stay up on the hands, or you can drop down to forearms or forehead to the mat. If you know your pigeon pose, you know where you're going with it. So just settle in. You're softening into this right hip. Breathing into any sensation, any compression. Lovely, couple more breaths. And then lift yourself up if you were lying in your pigeon. From there, you're rolling onto that right hip so that you can slide the left leg round and in front. For your head to knee pose, so left leg is straight, toes are lifted. You can shift some of the fleshy part out from underneath you. Right foot into the inner thigh, hands either side of that left leg. Take a nice big inhale, lift the chest. And then walk yourself forward nice and slowly, belly coming towards the thigh. Find where you sort of settle, where you feel that sensation through the back of the leg. It might be much higher, you could be here, that's okay. Wherever you are, take an inhale to lift the chest, and then an exhale to fold maybe a tiny bit further forward. Leave the belly where it is, lift the heart on your inhale. And again, fold on your exhale. Take one more little lift and lower with the breath. And then stay where you are. Breathe into that fold. Let gravity draw the body forward. Lovely. Walk yourself back up nice and slowly. Keep the legs just as they are. We're twisting to the left. So take your right hand to the outer edge of the left leg, left hand behind you. Breathe in as you lift, twist to gaze over the left shoulder. And then unravel yourself. Take a twist the other way, left hand to the right knee. Draw that right shoulder back. And then we're just going to lift the hips, open through the front of the body. So keep the right hand down behind you. Press into right hand, left heel, right knee, and lift the hips up. So this top arm can extend back behind you. You're squeezing the hips up, expanding and lengthening through that left hand side. Doesn't have to be long. Take a couple of breaths here if you can. And then nice and slowly drop yourself back down, returning as if to that head to knee pose, but we're crossing the legs. So right leg tucks underneath us, left leg comes over the top, pressing into the foot. So your left knee will be a lot higher. And from there, you're turning to the left, crossing that elbow over or just hugging the left leg in and turning to the left. So a hug is just as good. It can squeeze in, you'll feel it in the left hip. An elbow gives you a little bit more rotation. And then unravel to center. One final pose on this side. Just release the feet a little bit more so the knees begin to stack. The feet come out slightly more, possibly to the side. It's a big hip opener. Send this left hip down. Keep hold of the feet or just rest on the floor. Sit as tall as you can. Maybe take a little lean forward, like you're looking over the knees. But if it was plenty to be up here or to tuck the feet in, don't feel you have to take it too far. Lovely. Come back up. Spin those legs round. We're just taking the other side. So move through your downward dog just to stretch out. And you have your left knee coming forward. So left knee to left wrist, right knee inching back. You're settling into your pigeon pose, or of course you can take deer pose and lean forward. Still a stretch for the hips. So find your variation, drop as low as you want to, connect with your breath. From there, lift yourself up nice and slowly if you were low. Drop onto your left hip, spin the right leg round. So you're setting up head to knee pose. Right leg's nice and long, lift the right toes. Left foot is inside the inner thigh. Hands either side, take a breath in. Walk yourself forward, just the belly dropping to begin with if you can. It may be a really small movement. And then lift your chest on the inhale, ripple belly first as you exhale. You've got a couple more of those with the breath, lifting and lowering, just finding that little bit more space through the back of the right leg. And then next time you lower, allow the spine to round, let the head drop, upper body nice and heavy. And then pick yourself up from there. We're twisting to the right. First of all, left hand to the outer right leg, little bit of pressure, hand into leg to spiral the body. And then take that twist the other way, right hand to left knee, left hand behind. Gaze back over the left shoulder. And then that lift through the hips, left hand behind you, press into knee, heel, left hand, lift the hips. Arch through the right rib cage, expand and breathe. And then lower back down, nice and slowly return to face that right leg, but we're tucking in. So left foot underneath, nice and close to the hip, right foot over the top, foot planted on the floor. You're twisting into that right leg, turning to the right. So either just hug it in, or you can use the elbow. Lovely, unravel. Slight adjustment of the legs, maybe open out that underneath foot, maybe drop the knees a little bit closer and angle out the top foot. Sit nice and tall and send your right hip down. This may be plenty and where you stay, or you can take a little lean of the body to look over the knees. It's your final pose, breathe into it. Lovely, lift back up if you are leaning. Unravel the legs. You are more than welcome to take a full Shavasana, but for this one, we're just going to finish in a seated, simple meditation at the end to finish our practice if you got to the end with me. So rest the hands on the knees, take an easy seat, leave the palms facing up. Have that sense of ease and openness. Feel that energy rising up through the spine, up through the crown of the head. But on your next exhalation, be aware of that sense of rooting and grounding through the sit bones. You are connected to the earth. You are reaching and rising towards the sky above, and you're creating space in between. Breathe into that space. Give yourself a little smile, feel a sense of gratitude for your practice, whatever you took from it today. Hopefully it has served you well and you feel better for it. Take a final big breath in with me to reach the arms up above the head, bring palms together. And draw thumbs to the forehead for kind thoughts, to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind actions. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.